Hey, it's Randall from River City. I'm not going to waste time and talk tonight because we got a couple of very, very special guests. And I'm just going to throw it to Howie Cheney because he might have a little bit of an inside connection with this first guest.
I don't know about that, but welcome to Beyond the Booth. Howie Cheney, along with the 1984 state champion from Valley Head, Phil Harris, and our special guest tonight, the newest member of the 2024 DeKalb County Sports Hall of Fame, Coach Paul Benefield. Coach Benefield, thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, congratulations on this being inducted into the Hall of Fame. What was your first thoughts when you received the phone call or however you found it out?
Well, it's just I don't know. It's just something that you don't. I didn't anyway. I don't know. I didn't think anything about ever anything like this happening. It just seemed like you start out coaching one day and you turn around 4 or 5 times and you've been coaching 32 years now. So it's just you're trying to win a game, and next year you're trying to work to win another game, and Hall of Fame didn't cross my mind.
Well, where was you at when you found out?
I really can't remember if it was. Well, actually, I think they told me when I went into the State Hall of Fame that I would automatically go into DeKalb County Hall of Fame. So I guess I knew it, a long time ago, or I don't know if that was year before last in Montgomery when I got inducted in the State Hall of Fame. So I think Harold Bolden probably told me that was automatic, that I'd have to go in. I get to go in, not have to. That didn't sound right. Yes. But, anyway, that was all of it. It's like everything the last 10, 20 years. It just something that's flew by so fast you can't enjoy it. Maybe someday.
I didn't mean to overlook it, but you are a state champion multiple time over. But if I gave all the years that you had won the state title, we'd been here half the night. So congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's something, after you go so long without ever making it and getting beat in the finals one year, and then you just think, well, that was nice to go, and probably the last time you get to go. Then all of a sudden, everything just exploded.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up someone that I was fixing to bring up as well. One Mr. Harold Bolden. Not only is he your stat keeper for all these years, but he's been a lifelong friend of yours, and he's been with you every step of the way.
Yeah, he has. They tried to get me to come back to 5 one year there when I was at Sylvania, and I didn't feel like it was ready yet. Still had good things going at Sylvania, but he was important in getting me to come back home.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Phil's here is with us. He's fixing to ask you a couple of questions. I got one more question before we go, and it's a question I've been thinking about asking you all day long, and it's a multiple choice. I'll make it real easy for you, Coach.
Well, good.
I think
questions in the summer.
I think he's insulting you there, but I won't say that.
Well, I'm not even smart enough to know when I get insulted.
So
there's some advantage to
that. So which do you prefer, Gunsmoke or Bonanza?
Gunsmoke or Bonanza? God.
I'm making an assumption here. Coach, I'm making an assumption here that you're a big Western fan. You may not be.
Well, since I have been to the place that Bonanza was filmed in Nevada, I'm going to say Bonanza. Boy,
Hey, that's good. That's a good answer.
And it's just tough to do right there. Matt Dillon, you know, he might arrest me, but, you know, Mr. Cartwright, I got a lot of respect for him, too.
Coach, if you've ever seen me walk, you know why we are fond of Festus around here.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Festus.
No, sir.
He's a good one. I watched it many times. But Andy Green's my favorite, so.
Coach, I'm going to turn you over to Phil. I know he's chomping at the bit to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Well, Coach, you know, welcome into the show. Of course, we talked a little bit Saturday night at the banquet, and you know, and you talked about back in the days when you were at Sylvania, you never dreamed of anything about this. You know, you were just kind of worried about winning the next football game, teaching your kids how to win. But then when it all comes down to it, you know, and I remember when I was writing your bio and you wanted me to send you the information so you could read over it to make sure everything was correct. Because a lot of times, and you said it, that sometimes, you know, stuff gets published and it's not always true. And when I sent that to you, you sent it back to me and said, well, it looks like everything's correct. And you told me, you go, you know, I didn't realize that much was attached to my name. You know, it's kind of humbling when you kind of reflect back and look at things like that.
Yes, it is very much so. You're kind of, it's an out of body experience. You're just like you're looking at something somebody else did and something you can't remember, you know, nothing but the losses. You can't remember half the wins, and that's a shame. And when you just remember losses.
Yeah, you know, that's an amazing story. Of course, you know, Coach, the banquet was great. I thought it was first rate. But you know, you sit there and I looked around the room and watched all the people in the room, and you know, everybody that walked into that place has a brand. They were a great coach or a great player or a great reporter. But you know, there's more to it than that. You know, everybody that was in that room has a legacy, and when you look around and see their family members, people that inspired you as a coach, and the people you have inspired. You know, you look around that room and the 7 people that went in with you, you know, you kind of look around and say, you know, this is something else, because I live in my own little world, but all these people around me that's going into the Hall of Fame, you know, you feel great for them once you kind of see their story.
Yeah, it is. It's the families is what matter, and the families have endured all the good and the ugly, and the big wins and the big losses, and they've endured all that too. And of course, I was a younger man, Howie, when I was at Sylvania, you know, and took them a little bit tougher and harder. And you know, Howie remembers some of those nights, I'm sure, of Colbert County and those kind of losses. It takes years off your life, losing Chad Anderson to knee surgery, you know, but you just gotta, if a coach is ever going to be down and out, he's got to be down and out Friday night, Saturday, and he's got to come back Monday or Sunday and whatever. And you just can't let the kids see like that, because there's another game, and you're trying to build kids that come back after a situation like that, so that there's something later in life that maybe they'll come out of tough times and remember some of those lessons that they learned. And you know, that matter of fact, that's just what I was meaning in my biography, was coming back from games like a group of kids at Sylvania who Chad had been, you know, he'd always been the star of that team, and we lose him, and we come back, you know, and win some big games before the year is over. And that's just, I attribute all that to the hard work and the togetherness that you go through to train, and you're supposed to fight a little bit harder when one of your best ones gets hurt. And the same thing happened to me at Fife the first year when Jeff Pitts went down with the knee surgery, and was a really good player, and we didn't have but about 18 to start with. So, but we came back, and those kids there that had been had been losing the last couple of years, they came back and won some big games after that. So that's when you're the most proud, a lot more proud probably than winning a state championship. Not that I wouldn't be proud of that too. Just a lot of towns that people don't understand. People go home and go to sleep after a game, and I don't. So, and then that's what irritates us coaches about somebody telling us what happened. Like, I didn't know what happened. I didn't know we need to work on defense, or I didn't know we needed to work on this or that. I don't even know anything about this team. So, coaches about somebody asking some dumb question about, hey, buddy, I lost 6 hours of sleep last night over this. So don't be telling me something that I already know.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I think Coach Pope, we were talking about you one time, and he's kind of said it basically. He said, people don't really understand how and why Fife's so successful. He said, but if they go up there and watch what Coach Benefield puts those kids through and how they respond and how they do things, you would understand why they're successful on the field.
Yes, that's exactly right. And when a coach calls me kind of wanting to know things like that, and they think it might be some little offense that we do or something, it's those guys that's grinding every day that is why. And they're not giving no excuses, and they're fighting through tough times out there every day that I put them through, and not every day, but most days. And so they've got a bond about them when they go into a game, and I always talk to them about what's your quitting. What is your quitting limit? What will it take for you to quit during a game? And we want our limit to be longer. It sounds crazy, but when you do lose a game, I like to watch the last 4 or 5 minutes of a game when you know you're going to lose the game. And I like to watch my kids play then, because I'm looking for loafing and head dropping and body language on what it's like. You got to learn how to lose too. You got to have class when you lose, class when you win, and class is something that you can carry with you the rest of your life. And that's the beauty of sports is I don't, can't stand a sore loser, and I don't like a bragging winner. So anyway, I'm old school.
Yeah. Well, Coach, this is a tribute to your program is, everybody has there's a lot of teams and out there and a lot of successful people, they climb to the top, but the hardest part about anything you do in life is maintaining, and is there something special you do to keep those kids hungry because they're used to winning, they know how to win? What keeps them hungry? What do you do to keep them hungry?
Well, I told the guy the other day that I don't know if we're talking about Logan, and we just hope you don't get the big head getting out. I said, hey, one of my strongest points is not X's and O's. It's not whatever you want to name. I'm not no genius. I'm not going to outsmart nobody. But I tell you what I can do. I can get the big head off of somebody in a hurry. And I ain't talking about him necessarily. I'm talking about a team in general.
Uh-huh.
And you've got to keep that same I don't know what you call it, win or lose every week. We've got to go in and prepare. And I've sold my kids on that. It's just like playing a team if you think you can beat. You kind of know you're going to beat. There ain't many of those, but there are some. But why waste a Friday night and going out, or even a game where you're supposed to win that you could get beat if things went wrong? For instance, you fumble 4 times, or you whatever, you snap it over the punter's head 5 times. But that's the kind of thing you can lose any game if you go out and perform like that. But why do you do all the work you do and then go out and lay an egg on Friday night and not do all you can do while you're in the game. Maybe we are better than the other team sometimes, but go out and play, like it's a Super Bowl for a quarter. And so that way, old coach saying is you either get better or worse every week, and you can't get better if you're not playing. And I know you can't play the same intensity, and kids are not stupid. They know when you play a team that they're better than, and they're probably not going to, be as focused as they would be. But still, you go backwards if you don't practice like that and play like that.
Yeah, Coach. Yeah, well, Coach, and I understand exactly what you're saying, but and this is kind of a boring thing to kind of point out, but a coach-driven team can only get so far. Your players have to be player-driven, because once they get inside that white line, it's all about them, leadership and execution. They're the ones that make the things happen. The coaching can only get them so far. That's
right. That's exactly right. And, of course, you coach long as I have, you've had teams that didn't have any leaders on it. And you had some that actually it's just, it's become a thing that you normally want your seniors to be the leaders, but that's not always the case. And I got some guys right now coming up that's been starting there's 4 or 5 of them been starting 4 years, and they've just never really been that great of leaders, except by example. But I saw a 2020 team, when my son Eli was the COVID year, and that team had leadership, and they were dominant, and I can see this happening this year with our team. But and his leadership from these guys that's been starting, and the respect they have out of other guys, and we just had some outstanding summer workouts so far. But it's just beginning, kind of starting our 3rd week. But we hadn't really had a bad day. They might be 3 or 4 that hadn't turned the corner yet, or the light hadn't came on, whatever us old coaches use.
Yeah, of course, that's a great thing to see when you see those kids when that light comes on. That's rewarding as a coach to see that, because when those kids get it, they're having fun, and they're making things happen. But when that light comes on, it's special, not only for them, but it is for you too.
Yeah, y'all cutting out a little bit on me. I don't know what.
Well, Coach, I wanted to ask you about, you talked about family, your wife, Jody, she's been behind you thick and thin. Of course, you've got 2 sons that's on your staff now. Of course, they played for you. Now they're coaching under you. So I'm sure it's very demanding. But, Jody's made a very big part of who you are today. I know, like I say, she's been with you thick and thin.
Oh, that's right. She sure has. And, it's not, we laugh and joke about every good coach or whatever good successful person. There's always a good woman behind you. And she has to go through those nights. The same thing I do, a lot of times. And especially earlier in my career, when you still got all that mouthy stuff going on up in the bleachers. People don't understand what all a coach's wife goes through, and set up in the stands and coach. All these people that never has coached and never will, but they know everything, what to do, and it don't bother me much what I don't hear, but she has to hear all of it. So that's tough. Pretty tough life there. And of course, last several years it's been good, but it hadn't always been perfect that you win every game. And Howie, is he still listening?
He's still here, Coach.
He's still here.
Howie, you remember some of those early beatdowns we got there when Sylvania, when he had to go up to North Jackson one night.
Yes, sir. I remember that next Monday in the weight room, you ripped us a new one.
Yes. And they waxed us pretty good. You know, we had a pretty good football team, but they had a really, really good team. Just got a tail kicking, and that's where it goes sometimes.
Hey, Coach, we've got Logan coming on with us. He just slipped in here, and I want to ask you a question about Logan because he's going to be on the second half of the show. Is Logan? We hear legendary comments about Logan's work ethic. Has he always had that work ethic, Coach?
Oh yeah, he has. He loves the weight room, and he loves to train and try to get better, and I get along with people like that a lot better. People that want to be successful, and there's a lot to be said about it. People that want to win. You hear this all the time, and I'm sure y'all have heard Saban and people say it, but I've said it probably as long as he has, and that is people that want to win. Are you going to train to win? Are you going to do the things it takes to win? And I just think Logan enjoys the training and the weight room and the competition, and to the point that he wants to be as good as he can be. And that's I've got several this year that's like that, and you know every team don't have as many, but you always got some like that really love the grind and a real competitor, and a man does love the grind but they also love that feeling of coming off the field and beating people, and that's just something that makes you feel good.
Well, Logan, before Coach goes, do you want to take this opportunity to ask Coach a question?
I don't really. He ain't a really questionable person. I mean, he's pretty straight up about everything, so you ain't got to ask him nothing.
He goes ahead and gives you the answer, right?
Hey, Coach.
Y'all talking to me?
Yeah. Coach, we appreciate it. Howie Chaney, you wanna close Coach out tonight? You got anything for him?
Yeah, Coach, I got one quick question. We always hear about 5 scoring 40 points a game and all that, but you don't hear much about the defense. Could you talk a little bit about your defense, how great they played over the last several years?
Well, yes, we have had some really good defenses. I haven't been real happy with our defense the last couple of years. I'm hoping it's going to be better this year, because that's what I look at, number one. That a lot of people think I'm an offensive whatever, but we always pray. You know, that's Logan there. We'll always start out every week practicing his defense, the game plan for defense first, and that's what we'll always do it. I haven't been real happy with. I'm just not a modern day guy that likes a 55 to 40 game. That's just not me. I don't like that. I'd rather be 21-0 as I had the 55 to 35. But you know, teams are getting harder to defend, but I hope this year, and I think we will be better on defense this year. I certainly hope we are. So, but anyway, we played pretty good defense over the years.
Coach, I knew that you was a defensive-minded coach. A lot of people think that you are the offense, but I know you love that defense. I remember watching film with you, and you always you focused more on the defense than you did on the offense when you was watching the game film. So that's why I wanted to bring that last question up about the defense.
Well, I was raised listening to Coach Bryant talk football, and you know, a lot on TV and stuff, and always you talking about you got to stop the other team before you worry about winning. And at the end of the day, if they don't score, you'll tie. But now you won't tie; you have to go in overtime. I actually made a comment one time at Fife a long time ago about my first year, second year somewhere. I jokingly said to a guy that was helping me way back then, I said, if you'll shut them out tonight, we'll win. Well, we did shut them out, and we didn't win because we got beaten overtime 6-0. It was a playoff game.
Yeah.
That's the team that lost Jeff Pitts, and we kind of liked the running back there that was capable of getting anywhere much, but they was doing the best they could. We were with what we had, but anyway, yeah, I'm pretty much defense first, and that's just still the way it's going to be at 5 as long as I'm there.
Well,
Coach, thanks for joining us tonight. We got 2-4 in here with us. I know you don't call them by their names very often. It's by their numbers, but we got 24 in here. It's going to talk to us for a little while. And Coach, once again, congratulations on your Hall of Fame into the DeKalb County Sports Hall of Fame. And on behalf of RiverCity-Media, Randy, Phil, myself, you're welcome back anytime.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. See ya.
All right, Logan. That's hard. We didn't give you the easiest act to follow in following Coach Benefield, but you should be up to the task by now. We want to welcome you in, and I got a question to ask you to start with. I do a little work for 24/7, and after you run the 4-4 at camp, I actually got called and asked about you. And that's kind of the point that your recruitment blew up, as I could follow. Was that 4-4, was it as big to your recruitment as I think it is, or was that just a cap of some hard work you had done?
I don't really know. I think the big part of my recruitment was the Georgia offer. I think that really just bursted everything. I know there's a few coaches that were going to offer me to play a little bit later for everybody else. Because obviously the Georgia offering me gave me a lot more exposure. Oh, dang, this kid's actually good enough to play. So in my opinion, I think it's got a lot to do with me getting offered by them. But, I mean, it could do something about how fast I am. A lot of people don't really think I'm that fast because they think I'm just a big meathead or something. I don't know.
That's Kelly over here and me.
Yeah.
Logan, before I pass you around to other guys to ask you some questions, I got one more to ask you about your it's kind of about your recruitment. It's kind of about your playing style. Last year I was on the sideline at the Sylvania game, and you were so physical that night. Both teams were. It seemed like the more physical the game got, the better you liked it. Do you really – what point does the contact get and you just feel like, yeah, this is what I like?
Well, I do play a lot better against more physical teams. That was honestly the funnest game of the year because I get to play against my first cousin. So we was all knocking the crap out of each other and just shaking each other's hands after each play, patting each other on the butt, just having fun. I'll play a lot better whenever it's a more physical, more a little bit tougher game because that's the way I like it. For some reason, I'm not very good when we don't play very good teams. I guess I ain't got as much adrenaline or whatever, but the getting hit, I like getting hit a lot better than I do not getting hit. So it gets me fired up a little bit.
And not only was it Chad, you had a cousin that was too. What a cheerleader, your cousin, a picture on River City of you, Chad, and I thought another cousin got in.
Oh yeah, it was another one of my first cousins. She's a cheerleader at Sylvania. So
that was a big night for me. Howie, will kick it to you and then over to Phil.
Let's go ahead and go with Phil first because my questions are not going to be really sports related. So let's go ahead and keep it with Phil real quick.
Let's do that. Well, Logan, one thing that I want to ask you about, and of course, all the ladies are going to want to know this: have you got a girlfriend?
Yeah, I do got a girlfriend actually.
Tell me this, and I know. See, now Coach Benefield. I'm kind of sort of in that kind of bloodline. Of course, Ronnie Househalter was his coach, and then Jim Kirby was my coach. So it's in that same line. Does Coach Benefield warn you about hanging out with the girls too much?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's more joking sometimes, but I mean, he is serious about it, I guess. Stay away from him pretty much. They're nothing but trouble.
Yeah. Well, Coach Kirby used to stress. I'm not going to tell you. I might tell you in person what he used to tell us all the time about hanging out with the girls all the time. Stay a little more focused on football. But Logan, outside of football, what do you do for fun?
I like to hunt. Pretty much, I don't know. I just like hanging out with my family and my friends. I like going on the lake and the river and stuff like that.
Well, I know your family is huge behind you. I know your dad is Chad. Of course, I called football games back when he played. He and your uncle both, and when they played at Sylvania, and he was an outstanding player in his own right. So, he's had to be a big push behind your success. Well grounded. I think that's probably the way he's probably taught you, because that's the type of player he was.
Yeah. My dad and my older brothers pushed me a lot to be better. Obviously, following his footsteps, it's been a big encouragement for me to want to be better as a player. Obviously, I got big shoes to fill, and that's what I'm trying to do. I've not really been around my uncles much in the football area, but my dad's always been on to us. When we was little, he'd actually we start calling each other bad names and stuff. He'd go out in the front yard and spray paint lines, make us run sprints, stuff like that. Just crazy stuff. So
That's great.
Yeah, that's probably preparing you for playing for Coach Benefield, because he probably went through the exact same things. Because and it's a challenge, I'm sure, playing for Coach Benefield. But on Friday nights, it makes a difference. And and in your recruiting process, Coach Benefield, I know, is a big help to you, because I know the little things he makes you do, like chin up, chest out, make eye contact. When you go on a recruiting trip and those coaches talk to you, they've seen thousands and thousands of kids. So they are looking for something in an individual, and evidently you have made an impression. And some of that is from your parents, some of that is from your coaching staff.
yeah, Coach Benefield teaches more fundamental stuff like correcting little errors, because little errors like 1 foot, like false steps, just one step can make you miss a tackle, not make you get it, like just have enough time to make it somewhere. So he's worked on us a lot about like not taking false steps and getting to the ball as fast as we can on defense, because that's what his main priority is defense. So that's where he really works with us the most.
Yeah, little things, and they're very important. I want to ask you one more question. I'll turn it over to the other guys. I know you've got a lot of offers running at you, and I know academics is going to be a huge factor in where you end up going. If football's taken away from you today, what are your interests as far as, of course, what schools are you looking for, and what do you think your future might be in?
I've really considered going to lineman school and being a lineman. I don't know. I really like hands-on work more than anything. I like actually having to work. I don't like sitting around. I'd rather just get my hands dirty than, sit in the office at a desk or do easy stuff like that. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but I'd rather just be more active. I'm a more of an active person when it comes to working. So, and I like learning a lot of new things with, like, I guess not really farming, but just building fences and stuff like that. I did it with my cousin a couple weeks ago. So I learned a lot doing that. So I like just doing easier tasks, learn a lot more stuff.
Yeah, basically a good old country boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead, Howie.
Yeah. Sounds like me feel is Logan needs to look into golf course maintenance.
Yeah.
And you get out and get dirty and work in the field.
Yeah.
So that might be an option for him. Sorry.
Yeah.
But what you're describing, I kept going, well, that boy's a golf superintendent, don't even know it. Yeah. Howie, go ahead.
Logan, I went to school with your dad and your uncles and all that. Great athletes, a long line of Anderson running backs. Of course, you chose number 24. I'm assuming because your dad wore it.
Yeah, my dad and my big brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And Phil touched on something a little bit earlier, but he didn't finish out the question. He asked you if you had a girlfriend. Of course, you said yes, but he didn't ask you to give her a shout out as far as who is she?
Her name's Blair Butler. She goes to school in Scottsboro. She's actually a cheerleader. I'll be dating her for about 4 months at the end of this month. She's a really good girl, and I hope to keep with her, go through college with her, maybe end up with her. I hope that's what happens at least.
There you go. Great answer. That made her real happy. If she's watching this right now, she's got a big smile on her face right now. I can promise you that. So Logan, I don't know if you ever saw our shows or not, but Phil and Randy, they're the ones that knows more about the X's and O's and about the recruiting and all that. I'm just the guy that asks crazy off the wall questions. Like one thing I've asked everybody, I even asked Coach Benefield the first time he was on here. I think it's probably the very first question. But do you have any superstitions that you got to do before a game?
Last year I actually had one where I got to take a hot shower before I go. I did it one game, and I think that was one of the best games I ever had. It was in the playoffs actually, and against Locust Fort. So ever since then, I guess I'm gonna start taking hot showers before I go to the game, right before the game. I don't really have many superstitions that I can think of, but I'd probably say that's one of them.
That's better than some of the answers we got. Coach Benefield was basically he lets Jody drive him to all the games, and it's driving Coach Benefield.
Yeah, that's every game, every single one of them.
So, Phil asked some of my questions I was going to ask, which is fine. But do you have a certain pregame meal that you got to eat, or is there some type of food you got to have before you play a game?
Usually we go to Kelly's Kitchen in Rainsville. It's a really good place to eat. We actually eat there. Well, me and a few of my friends on the team that usually get to go, we all go eat there after workouts too, every day after workouts. We go eat Kelly's Kitchen. And then before games, like during school, we'll leave and we'll go eat Kelly's Kitchen. That's pretty much I guess that is a superstition. Before games, we'll go eat Kelly's Kitchen, and then we'll come back to school, wait for the game to start. So
if we get in Logan Anderson's vehicle right now, what's the music going to be on there? What, maybe a certain song, or is it a genre you're going to be listening to?
I have a bunch of different genres. I like girly music a little bit. It's according to what day it is. I don't know if you know who Maroon 5 is, but I like them a lot.
Hey, Logan, we're old, but we're not that old, buddy.
Yeah, we're not that old. Yeah.
I like Treaty Oak Revival. He's kind of like a new up and coming, not really up and coming, but he's gotten big recently with country music. And obviously, I listen to rap every now and then. So,
on all these recruiting trips you've been to, and I'm going to ask this, and if you don't want to answer, I understand. That's fine. But what school have you been to that you've liked the most?
There's been a few schools. I like Clemson a lot. They got a really good head coach, Dabo. He's a really good family guy. He keeps in touch with me a lot. Their coaching staff keeps in touch with me a lot. They show a lot of interest. They have the right things going for them that I look for in a team. Like they don't take players out of the transfer portal. So if I go there and I get promised a starting position or something, that's not going to get took away from me by like a top recruit that's transferring in from a different school. So that's a big thing for me as well. I know I can't just get my spot taken from somebody that's transferring in that's supposedly better or whatever else. So I like Clemson a lot. They got actually whenever I went over there for a camp, a big thing that stood out to me and my family is that when we walked through the locker room, they was actually playing Christian music. So that's pretty awesome.
That is good. I got two more questions, and I'll send it upstairs to Randy real quick. I gone blank. I was talking about Randy, and I went blank. No, I'm going to ask you about your dad. He was a good running back and everything. Who was faster, you or him? Him in his prime, or you right now?
Well, I don't know. He don't talk too much about himself. He's a pretty humble guy. He don't ever say anything, actually. The only thing I know about his high school career really is that he had, I think it was 10 or 11 interceptions one season. It might have been his junior, maybe even sophomore, senior year. He's got his film put up, but he won't let me watch it for some reason. I guess he will, but I don't know. He kind of tried to hide himself a little bit. I think I got him talked to put him on some DVD so we can watch him. I ain't watched him since I was probably 10 years old, maybe younger than that, and not enough to remember anything. So I think he might have ran a 4.5. I'm not really sure what he ran, but he was a little bit lighter than me. So I guess that does a little bit differ.
Yeah. You've put on some weight this summer. How much weight have you put on?
I've been varying. In the off season, I got up to around 219, 220. And then during these camps and all that stuff, I've lost 4 or 5 pounds. I think I weighed 216 today. So
yeah.
I've put on probably 10 pounds. I was 10, 12 pounds, somewhere around there.
Right. Well, jumping back to your dad real quick, I watched every game he played in, and he never got caught from behind. So he was pretty fast back in his day. I can promise you that. Randy, what you got for the young man?
Logan, you kind of answered it with the Clemson thing, and I'm not looking for who your leader is, but was Dabo the guy that you talked to on the phone or text you went, hey, I'm talking to Dabo Sweeney, or I'm talking to Kirby Smart, or I'm talking, was there anyone that you just kind of zoned out and realized this is a big deal?
Yeah, well, I think all of them, pretty much. Every coach I've talked to has kind of been like that, because I never would have expected I would have been in the position I am right now to talk to anybody like that. I always figured if I ever seen them, it'd be from a distance, not in person or in their office at least. It's kind of a little bit mind-blowing, and it's kind of hard to grasp, honestly. I still don't know if I can grasp it all the way. Still hasn't really – it's hit me, but I don't know if it's fully hit me yet. It's kind of something – it's crazy to me, honestly.
Well, you come to the process. You'd always been recruited. Even your junior year, I heard of schools that were showing you interest, but somewhere along the way, it shifted size and scope. It went from maybe some local schools to a nationwide base. Were you surprised by how it blew up at that one point?
Yeah, I was. It's honestly obviously it's something hard to grasp. Twitter has been a big help too. A dude on Twitter actually named Dexter Talbert. I don't know if I know who that is, but
yeah,
he's helped me out a lot with my recruitment. And Jeremy Pruitt, they've done a lot for me getting my stuff out there and helping me out with coaches. During my junior season, I think the only really schools that were talking to me were maybe South Alabama and Troy showed me a little bit of interest. Because I went to some of their games during the season on the weekend and watched them play. And then I've had a few people, like Power 4, whatever schools that would follow me on Twitter, but they would never really just show me any interest. They would just follow me and it'd be that. I don't know if they were waiting on me or what to see how my senior season went or whatever. But yes, I guess it did jump pretty quick. It kind of happened out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting it, to be honest with you. I was going to camps to get better. Obviously to get recruited too, but really my main priority was to get better as a player, because this year I'll be playing inside linebacker, and that's not the position I've ever played. So trying to get some work on that and get more work on people that I would see in college that I wouldn't see around here. So
Phil, I'll come to you after this question, but you just kind of led me into where I wanted to go. I know you played outside, you played running back. When you at that college level, so many times you start on the special teams level. Have you had any coaches mention to you, you have you played special teams or talked to you about the easiest path to the field?
Well, I figured that if I go to college, I'll probably end up getting redshirted, and I probably will play special teams my first year. I think that'd be good for me, honestly, because I feel like I probably do need to go to college and learn a little bit more about football than I know already. I think I need to learn a little bit and get a lot better before I really just get out there and play. So Georgia Coach Smart actually said something about special teams. He was like, yeah, they'll probably put you wherever you go. You'll probably get put on special teams, kickoff or punt or whatever, protection, and start that off your freshman year or redshirt freshman year or whatever.
I'll tell you, there's 3 guys standing around you that are envious of the opportunities you have. We all wish we'd had it. And I'm telling you, special teams sounds real big to me. Phil, why don't you take over the questioning now?
Well, Logan, I want to ask you this. Are you looking to go somewhere where you can maybe possibly play immediately? Is running the football maybe an option, or are you just kind of sort of looking at just playing defense?
I don't really, to be honest with you, I'll play anywhere. I don't really care where it's at. If they want me somewhere, I'll play there. I'm not really looking. I mean, if they feel like I'm good enough to play as soon as I step on the field or step on campus, then that's fine with me. But I'm okay with waiting and getting a little bit better before I get out there.
Well, tell me this: when you talk to Dabo Swinney, and we've heard people say he does not take the transfer out of the transfer portal. He doesn't do that. Is it because, and I'm sure he told you this, is it because he wants to keep that family atmosphere?
I feel like that does have a lot to do with it. We talked for a while. We said there was a bunch of stuff being said. I'm not exactly sure what he said, so I don't want to put words into his own mouth. He is a big family guy. He's about what I want to be about, playing college football. So he does all the right things, in my opinion. I feel like maybe the transfer portal is a lot to do about money. They get somewhere and they're not getting paid enough money. They want somebody else to pay them a little bit more money, so they go somewhere else. I feel like what you said was about how he feels about the transfer portal. So.
Yeah, definitely so, because it's really changed football and it's probably hurt the team concept. It's kind of put a damper on college football right now, I think. Of course, it gives people options, of course, naturally. And I'm sure you're probably going to go through that with the NIL. Well, Logan, I know one thing, and you had spoke on this, and I think, and if you'll probably share this as you learn, is probably the most important thing is where you were talking about communication, like Twitter and keeping up with, with coaches, building relationships, because social media is such a huge part of recruiting now. Building relationships with coaching is huge in the recruiting process now because, if you build those relationships, more people are going to notice you and come after you naturally because, they want to know Logan Anderson a lot of times more as a person sometimes than an athlete.
Yeah. I think about where I want to go is I don't want to go somewhere that doesn't keep in touch with me and try to build a relation with me because, I mean, you show me that you want me, then obviously I'm gonna want to go there because I'm not going to go somewhere, commit somewhere that doesn't show me any interest or tell me the right things I want to hear. Just pretty much just tell me the truth and set me straight. So I keep in contact with Clemson a lot. That's really the main team that keeps in contact with me. And Troy, they contact me a lot. So
yeah, because that's very important on both sides. Well, Logan, I know your parents, have raised you well. Are you quick? Of course, you get a lot of attention. Are you quick to reflect the attention away from you and focus it on your teammates? Because, you can't do it without them. And you have to stay humble in this because you don't want to isolate yourself as to being it's all about me because, your teammates are very important in this process.
Yeah. Obviously, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my family, my parents, and my teammates. So I don't really like taking on the glory of that because there's always somebody else to give props to. I wouldn't have been able to score as many touchdowns or run for many yards last year if I didn't have Tucker Wilkes or Simon Hicks or a few of those guys on our line blocking for me. So really, I feel like a lot more of my teammates should get a lot more attention than I do. They work as hard as I do, and they play the games as hard as I do. I just get more recognition for it, I guess, because I'm the one that gets in the end zone. I guess for some reason that's more people's priority is who scores, not the person who's blocking for you.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I wanted to ask Coach Benefield about this because, and you mentioned his name is Tucker Wilkes, outstanding football player. He's one of those that, he's kind of, he's a lineman, so he he doesn't get that attention, but he's a great football player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a really good friend too. He's a really good guy. Him and Simon both keep me straight in the weight room and at practice. They're always trying to compete and get better. So that's what I like, and that's the teammates I want around me. So, Tucker, you wouldn't think he'd be able to move like he does, as big as he is, but he can run, he can cut. I feel like he could play running back if he really just wanted to be honest with you.
Well, I want to ask you one more question, and I'll turn it over to these guys. Do you have a memorable moment, in your career? Of course, I made a comment last year. I know when you scored the 4 touchdowns in the championship game, I was wondering if Coach Benefield gave you a break from driving the bus home. You had done so much during that game, but is there a memorable moment you've had during your high school career?
Probably getting to play in a state championship game because the opportunity got took away from me when I hurt my knee my sophomore year. So just getting able to experience that with my teammates and Coach Benefield was a big thing for me. It's something I've always dreamed for. So I guess winning with my team in the state championship game was awesome. That's probably my favorite memory.
Okay, I want one more, and I'll let you go, or I'll let them take over. What does Coach Benefield mean to you?
He means a lot to me. He's like another father figure. He's always set me straight and told me how it is, and that's what I like. He makes me want to be a better person, be a better football player, and I look at him a lot more than just a coach. He's more like family to me. Well, I guess people despise him the way he coaches, but he's a really great guy behind all that. So I look up to him a lot. He's a really big person in my life, and he's a lot of the reason why. I'd say a lot more than you'd think of the reason why I'm the person I am today. So, and where I've got to.
Good deal.
All right.
Go ahead, Howie.
I'll go ahead and take over real quick. I want to touch on a little bit of what you and Phil already talked about. Your offensive line players, without them, yeah, you'd get a lot of yards, but without them opening up the holes, give them a little bit of a credit. Can you name off your offensive line from this past year?
We had Holden Smith at tight end. He graduated. He was a senior. My mind's went blank. We had a few different centers. Brody Badgett started the year, and then it went on to Jay Carter Lyles, which is actually a 9th grader. So he stepped up a lot this year. I got to give him a lot of credit. Not everybody can go in there as a 9th grader and play football, especially in a state championship game, not having any experience playing on varsity like that. Weston Evans, he's going to be a real good football player in the next couple of years. He's a 9th grader as well. And Jacob Butts, Tucker and Simon, and our quarterback, Blake Dobbins, they're big players. And I actually want another person that got hurt during spring training is Noah Gwynn. He would have been real impactful for us this year. He got a lot better over the past 2 years, and he was getting his groove on this offseason and getting a lot better. And he ended up getting hurt during spring training. So maybe he can come back like I did and have a successful career.
Absolutely. On some of your trips that you're going on and some of the camps that you've been to, I know that I spoke with the kid from Fort Payne, Connor Hughes. I spoke with his dad the other day, and you and him were at the Alabama camp together. I think it was last weekend or weekend before last. Are you making a lot of friends when you go to these camps?
Yeah. There is. I've met a bunch of the camps I've been to. There's been a lot of people that I've known at them, like Auburn. I actually went to school at Auburn for a year, my 8th grade year. So I got to see a bunch of my friends at that camp, at the Auburn camp. And then I seen a few of my friends at the Georgia camp from Auburn. The running back, his name's Omar Mabson. He's the running back for Auburn High School. He's really good. I think he's going to be in 10th grade or maybe 11th grade. He's already got 20-something offers as well. So he's a real good running back. And I can't remember his name. I never actually got his name. I made good buddies with a tight end at the Georgia camp and the Auburn camp because I had to guard him a couple times, and we just jokingly messed with each other the whole time. So we started a good little friendship.
Good deal. A little words of wisdom from the old fat guy sitting right here. If you get a chance to take a recruiting trip to Hawaii, take it, man. Go with it.
I would consider that. That's a beautiful place. I've never been there before. So,
well, Logan, first time I've actually ever spoke to you any depth or anything like that. I ran into you and your dad at Child King one day and talked to both of y'all for a few minutes. But very humble young man, level head on your shoulders. If you stay that way, you got good things coming to you.
I appreciate that.
Never forget where you came from. That's for sure.
That's right.
Yeah. And then if you decide,
before I I want to ask you one question, Logan. I said, do y'all listen to the WQSB Scoreboard Show on Friday nights?
Yeah, in the car.
Yep.
Everybody does. It's always
everybody does. Yeah, I was wondering about that because I get that a lot, and it's great to hear. Because it's kind of become a tradition on Friday nights, but of course we enjoy hyping y'all up, and I know it means a lot to you, because a lot of times young men don't get put on a pedestal very long. Your high school career goes by in a hurry, so anytime you can get exposure for you guys, you and your teammates, it means a lot to us because if we can make a difference for y'all any at all. That makes our job worthwhile.
Yeah, we all appreciate that. It just really hit me. Your voice is just so familiar from hearing all those radios and all that stuff. For some reason, I just put that together. I don't know why, but it just put it together. I was like, oh, dang, I hear him every Friday night. So
now you know why he's on the radio because of that face he's got.
Yeah, I was going to say, we let his face so that's our mistake. So.
Hey, Logan, me and Phil's got this little thing going on about Fife being the quickest ball games in the state of Alabama. Do y'all make them so quick where y'all can be the first ones to the huddle house on Friday night?
Sometimes we're not, actually, to be surprised. It is a little bit. It's always awesome to be the first ones there to get a good meal in, not have to wait 2-3 hours because I'm always starving after games. I'll lose a bunch of weight during games. I guess water weight and sweating so much. So it's always good to get a table real quick while we're in there so we can get out, stay out of trouble.
Well, Logan, I tell you what, man, if you decide you want to make it public as far as who you're going to go to, you're more than welcome to come on here and let everybody know where you're going to go to school at if you want to.
All right. That sounds good.
Even if you do it here, after you do it, come back on and let's talk about it.
You just text me and I'll be on here.
All right. Sounds good. Go ahead, Howie. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was getting a guest lined up for the future.
Yeah, no, that's what I was getting at. Just come on anytime, Logan. We've had could be great exposure for you, and also getting used to being able in the public eye because we had Connor Hughes on here, the kid out of Fort Payne, the kicker that's all-state kicker. We had the kids from Tennessee up there, Randy. What's their name?
Oh, Sam Evans.
Yeah.
Sam Evans, yeah.
Had him on here. He's a 4-star quarterback, 3-star quarterback in Tennessee. We'll bring anybody on here and let them come on here and talk and get a little bit of exposure, and plus get you used to the potential of what's going to happen on Saturdays when you go to college. If you get to playing all the time, you're going to be interviewed a lot.
Yeah, getting media trained.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I'll turn it over to the guys up top and let them finish us up. And Logan, thanks for being on, man.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for inviting me.
Logan,
I'm going to give you one. I'll let Randy take. I want to give you one word of advice. Enjoy the process. Cherish it. Cherish every moment because this is a special time in your life.
I will. I try to. It's kind of hard to when you got a lot of things flying in your face, but I try my best to cherish everything and be grateful for it.
Logan, I want to go back to, you've got a big year coming up. You have a rare opportunity to go from 2A to 3A and compete for that state championship. Is that something you and your teammates have talked about? Last year we wanted it too. We're going to be at 3A this year, and does that challenge really boil your blood a little bit?
Yeah, I like a good challenge. We don't really talk about stuff like that in the future. Like Coach Benefield always says, just take one game at a time. But coincidence is, like, I think during COVID, we went into 3A, and we actually won it the 2 years before that. So we won it the 2 years before that in 2A, then we went to 3A and won it for a three-peat. And if we do that this year, then that'll be the same thing that happened then. So I think that'd be pretty cool to win it in 3A twice. It'd be a big accomplishment for us and our team. So maybe that's what we can get that. Maybe that's something we can get done. But trying to focus on that first game of the season, get ready for it.
Got a big challenge in the district. You changed districts, and this year you're in the district with Geraldine and Sylvania. Some of these teams you already played, but now when you play them, they're a district opponent. Does that seems like your district was a little more spread out before. Now you're really close to some of the teams you're going to be playing.
Yeah. It don't really change nothing for me, honestly. It's still a football game. Still play them every year. So maybe we can come out with the same outcome like we always do.
That's it. You've been a pleasure to have. I'll echo all these guys. Enjoy it. I've been able to stand on the sideline and watch you play a couple of times. And if you play as hard as you work in the weight room, like I opened this up with, it's legendary how hard you play. And you should take a lot of pride in that. And I know one thing, it's nice for us to just say, we know somebody that's been recruited to Clemson and stuff. So thank you so much for giving us some time.
I'm still a person. I ain't nothing too special. So I'm just another human being.
Yeah. But look at us, man. We're old men. So we're just looking up to you. Well, he's over there. He ain't very smart too. So, all of us.
Logan, you know why they want Coach Benefield on here? Because he'd be older than all of us.
He ain't old. He's only about 35. So,
yeah. Before we let you run, is there anybody you want to shout out, talk to, or anything you want to say?
Not really. I'm a man of few words. I don't really say too much, but obviously we want to give thanks to people that's helped me with recruiting. I already gave them thanks earlier. Dex Preps on Twitter and Jeremy Pruitt. They've done a lot for my recruitment, and thank my family and Coach Benefield for getting me where I am today. So,
doors always open, anytime, son. Just I'll text you, or if you want to come on, just text one of us. We'll get you time. If you just want to talk about your recruitment, or you wake up at 12 o'clock at night and decide you want to commit, doors always open.
All right, well, I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. All right, everybody. I appreciate it, Logan. And Phil, you've got one thing that you're going to do here at the end. That was just before we wrap up. What a great young man!
Yeah, definitely so. Definitely so. Yeah.
We have one more thing to do tonight. We're going to have a special little drawing. Of course, we chose this episode because everybody wanted to hear from Coach Benefield for the transplant games, Phil. And it's something near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to be on the executive committee, but also we're going to be competing in the transplant games. And, of course, we have raised money, to help athletes so that they can compete in the games because, they want you to raise a certain amount. And because it costs about $2,500 per athlete to compete, counting housing. So it's very expensive, but we want to try to help everybody we can. So we had 2 gift baskets that we're giving away, and Randy's going to do the drawing for them. So we know it's not cheating, because, he couldn't even – there's no way he could figure out how to cheat. So we're just going to let him do the drawing.
Danny, if I pull your name out of here, you going to slip me some money?
Always.
All right. Well, I don't think you will. And this first drawing is going to be for a golf basket, Phil. What all was that entailing?
Oh, I know there was a gift card for Foodland, 2 rounds of golf, weekday at Little Mo Run Golf Course. There was some tees, some golf balls, just a bunch of different things. a Tigers in $25 gift certificate.
I got a ticket here.
Okay.
Got for the golf packaging. I have Regina Terrell. Regina, Regina Terrell. And it's actually got a phone number on it. So,
all right. Well, winner number one.
that's number one. I'm hoping I'm saying that name right. I don't think I could say it wrong. So, I'm going to leave my bucket here. But the other one, let me see if I can get it set up so you can see it. I guess you can. I'm not going to be as high tech with this one. Got it down here. And it's for a Vera Bradley basket cake, right?
Yeah.
And got to get down here and mix them up. Got to get my eyes away. And I'm going to pull a name. Right here, I have a winner. And it's not Howie Cheney, trust me. Tammy Frost.
Tammy
Frost.
All right. So Tammy Frost wins the gift basket. So that's good. Yeah. Well, of course, I want to thank everybody that gave to that. Chrissy spent a whole lot of time putting that together, and it will go for a good cause. I definitely promise you that. It's a great show tonight. I wanted to share a story with you guys. I know Ronnie Crabtree. He and I were, and I wanted to share this with Coach Benefield, and he and I were talking before the banquet. And he was talking, we were talking about, when you do things like this and you're in the public eye, you inspire a lot of people, but then sometimes you can make a lot of enemies, over time. And he and I were talking about that. And I pointed over to Coach Benefield. I said, just think about all the enemies that guy's got. I said, he's made life hard on a lot of people. He said, but at the end of the day, he said, you have to respect what he does and you can't help but love him.
Yeah. And it goes back to what you said on text to me and Howie the other night. Young Mr. Logan Anderson will be, when he gets to college, he will already know what it means to be coached hard. So,
oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And Coach Benefield and I were talking, and we didn't get to discuss this. He keeps up with what's going on with Encore. I think he's transferring to UNA. And then he told me about that Brody Dalton, who's at Troy. He's going to get to go play in Iowa City, the third game of the season. And he said he was going to try to go see it. And I said, golly bum, Coach, I said, you need to. And we were talking about, I guess y'all know the tradition of Iowa where they wave to the kids at the children's hospital. And we were talking about that. He goes, I forgot about that. I said, man, if I was you, I said, I think Tennessee has a home and home schedule with Iowa coming up in the future. And I want to go because I want to see that just for myself. I said, that would be worth the trip. That's one of those traditions, like watching Tennessee run through the tee, watching Alabama's band gather up at Jenny Chimes and march into the stadium, the eagle flying at Auburn. Those traditions that you get to see, that you hear about, but you don't get to experience them. That's one of those things I'd like to see myself.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, we've run a little long tonight, but Howie, but to echo what Phil said, that's so special. And I remember Coach Benefield, when he was talking about Brody, I gave him a little nudge a couple of years ago where he only threw to him like 25 times and he caught 21 touchdown passes. And ever since then, every time I'm doing a game, I always say, just like Coach Benefield says, you go to the tight end to score touchdowns. So you can't have any better two tonight than Logan Anderson and Coach Paul Benefield.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that first interview we did with Coach Benefield, and we can't, a lot of people don't realize Coach Benefield is a huge NFL fan. He loves the NFL football. And we were talking about, he's a big Green Bay Packers fan. And I said something about who would you draft if you was the Packers? He said, I would draft a wide receiver. I said, Coach, you don't never throw the ball. Why would you draft a wide receiver?
Yeah.
And that's when you brought up the facts about the Brody Dalton and the tight end and everything. But
well, I guess that's where on Sundays he changes gears a little bit.
Hey, yeah. Phil told me, I tried to poke at him, and I said, well, you only threw to him 25 times. And he said, well, he caught 21 touchdowns. I don't know what you think the object of football is. but it is to score touchdowns.
Well, he is prone to mix it up. It's whether he's going to run right or left. That's what he keeps the defense in suspense.
Hey, we said that to Tyler Van on the Tyler Van show last year, and then he proceeded to send me the same play run 15 different ways by 5. It was the same movements out of the backfield, but they blocked it 15 ways, and he made me go watch the coach's film to just know that while Coach Benefield may go left and right, he blocks it different every time. So
yeah.
Logan got a bright future, and if it's Clemson, it's Clemson. If it's Auburn, we are season ticket holders at an SEC school. I went to the University of Tennessee. You go with me. There's a lot of people at those places, the same as we are at Tennessee. We love to win football games, but we get money, give money, and we support and we go to events because we love those kids. And that he's going to find where he goes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't care what color they wear. At the end of the day, they're people. They take those helmets off. They're young men, and you root for them as individuals because at the end of the day, everybody has a brand. But what you want to do is you want to build a legacy. You want people to know you. To me, the ultimate, reward of kind of the person, everybody is you can speak about a person without saying their name, and they know exactly who you're talking about. That's a legacy. That's the type of person you want to be.
And ironically, they call, they can say my name at the Chinese buffet and they know who I am instantly. So
it's an image.
It's an image.
Yeah,
it's a big.
It takes up 2 squares of our media, but y'all, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We had a great crowd on with us. For Howie Chaney, for Phil Harris, for Randall Cunningham, we're here. Some form of us 3 are here every Monday night for Beyond the Booth, and there's a lot of special places we get to talk about, but I don't know if any is more special than Coach Benefield in that 5 program. So we're the one that's honored tonight. So,
and of course, we want to tell everybody, follow us, like us. This show is continuing to grow. Give us suggestions. If there's somebody you want to hear from, we'll try to track them down. We've got lots of people lined up. We just don't have them all plugged in. But nobody tells us no, and then they enjoy coming on. And our idea is what we want to do. We want to get to know people, as what they are off the field, not necessarily what they are on the field. And people are interested in that, and it's great. It's great to cover those type of stories.
It is, and
who do y'all have for next week?
We don't have anybody. I've got 4 or 5 that could, but I don't think we have anybody locked in. I mean, I can call. There's 2 or 3. Like Coach Edwards. It's at section, or I've talked to Coach Hughes, the softball coach at Ider. There's several that we can plug in. I mean, all I just got to do is get in touch with.
We also have a couple of backups that's always there for us. So, and we get them on about once a year too, but they're always ready to go. So we appreciate those too. I did get a request. We're going down to Pepperell somewhere along the way and have our first show with a Georgia school. So that's going to be in the next few weeks. We'll be venturing over to Pepperell and talking to their new staff. So it's going to be fun. But again, as Phil says, I'm terrible at this. Like, follow, share. This is for Randall Cunningham, for Howie Chaney, for Phil Harris. I'm fat, he's ugly, and he ain't smart. Good night. God bless.